Okay, hello students, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you have seen the previous 4 videos on this chapter, current electricity. So this is the 5th video on this chapter, and today's topic will be ohmic and non-ohmic resistor. So our topic is ohmic and non-ohmic resistor. Now this word resistor over here, what is mentioned over here, you can also replace that by the word conductor. So it can be also said as ohmic and non-ohmic uh, resistors or conductors. Now let's understand what is this ohmic and non-ohmic conductor. Before starting the lecture, I hope you have seen the previous video where I have explained Ohm's law. So what I've explained in Ohm's law is that Ohm's law states that current should be proportional to the potential difference or the voltage. This is what Ohm's law states. For that, for a given conductor, the current should be proportional to the potential difference. If potential difference is increasing, consequently, my current will also increase. Now, there are some conductors which follows it strictly, and there are certain which does not follow. So, the ohmic conductor or a resistor, as you can in your book, it is also said as resistor. The definition of ohmic conductor or resistor is that the conductors or the resistors which obey Ohm's law are ohmic conductors. So the conductors which obey Ohm's law are ohmic conductor. By the definition, you haven't much got an idea, but I'll give you the full way, the full derivations and everything that this definition is understandable to you. So let's first deal with the basic, the definition part. So it says any conductor which obeys Ohm's law are called ohmic conductor. And the example of ohmic conductor are what? It can be any metallic conductor. It is all mostly, I won't say all, but mostly all metallic conductor that we have, like aluminium, iron, you can say copper. These are all examples of ohmic conductor. Not only conductors, not only solid substances, even liquid. I hope you have studied the chapter electrolysis in your chemistry. And if you have studied that chapter, you will see that current can flow through ionic solutions like copper sulfate solution or a dilute sulfuric acid solution. So even copper sulfate, CuSO4 means what? Copper sulfate solution or dilute sulfuric acid solution. Okay. These are all examples of ohmic conductor. In chemistry, if you have studied the chapter electrolysis, you will see that current can pass through copper sulfate solution because it has positive ions and negative ions which conducts the current. Dilute sulfuric acid also, it produces the hydronium ion and the sulfate ion and the OH minus ion. Because of that, it can conduct electricity. So these are the examples of ohmic conductor, right? And what is ohmic conductor? What is ohmic conductor? The one which obeys Ohm's law. Now, in the previous video, I have explained you something about the graph. Now, the graph of a ohmic conductor, if you have seen, is something like this. Okay, this is suppose a V, this is I. Okay, on the x-axis we take current and on the y-axis we take voltage. So the graph of ohmic conductor is a straight line. Now this graph has a really a very big importance. The importance of this VI graph I have to explain to you. So this we will explain, but I think you have understood this ohmic conductor definition. Now let me make you explain what is the significance of VI graph. For this we will take a small example to understand this concept. In the last video I have taught you for a Ohm's law, it follows the VI curve in a straight line. Okay, the VI graph is followed by a straight line. So the VI graph has a straight line for the conductor which follows Ohm's law. So we have taken one small example. Now someone has given this graph to me, okay, and asked me to calculate the resistance from this graph. Can we calculate the resistance from this graph? Yes, we can calculate the resistance of a conductor from the given graph. So how we are supposed to get the resistance? Let's firstly make you understand resistance of a conductor is equal to the slope of the graph. Resistance of a conductor is equal to the slope of the graph. So if we are able to calculate the slope of this graph, we will get the resistance also. How? See, now this formula of slope you must have studied in your maths classes. The slope of a graph is equal to y2 minus y1. We will take any 2 points, that is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, this formula is there in maths. The slope is equal to y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. Now we will take any 2 points. Suppose we take, say, this point for example. So for this, what is y2 and what is x2? Okay, let's take this point y2. For this point, if I take first let me make you understand this thing, that x-axis represents current, right? So for this point, if I see, if I'm going down, my x-axis is how much? 8. And if I take the y-axis, it will come to near about, say, 20, 15. It will come to near about, say, 20, okay? This is near about 20. So 20. So the point over here is 8, 20, right? And if I take another point over here, the x-axis over here is how much for this point? If you see, that is 4. And the y-axis over here is how much? 10. Okay. So I will take this as my y2 and x2. So this point is x2 and y2. And this point as x1 and y1. I hope it is understandable. I have taken 2 random points on the graph. And the 2 random points on the graph, I have marked it like this. So this is one point and this is another point. So this point is over here 8 and this is 20, 8 and 20. You can see x-axis is 8 and y-axis is 20, 8, 20. That I have taken as my x2 and y2. And I have taken another point over here, and this point is 4, 10. Okay, 4. You can see it is 4 on the x-axis and on the y-axis is 10. So it is 4, 10, and that is taken as x1, y1. Okay. Now if you see y2 minus y1, right? But what does y represents? Y represents what? Voltage. If you see, the y-axis represents voltage. So instead of y2 minus y1, I can also write as v2 minus v1. And instead of writing x2 minus x1, this x-axis represents what? Current. So I can write I2 minus I1 because this x-axis represents current. So x2 minus x1 can be written as I2 minus I1. So that means what? What I'm actually doing, this x2 and y2, which the values which I've taken as 8, 20, right? That represents what? That represents I2 and V2. And similarly, x1 and y1, which is 4, 10, that represents what? I1 and V1. Now I will substitute the values, but before substituting the values, V2 minus V1, this change in the voltage, V2 minus V1, this change in the voltage is represented by delta V. This delta represents what? Change. Delta represents change. And I2 minus I1, that is the change in the current, that is represented by delta I. Now if you see, I'll put the values. V2 minus V1. So what is V2 minus V1? See, if you see, V2 is 20 and V1 is 10. I'll put these values. So it becomes 20 minus 10. And I2 minus I1. I2 is how much? 8 and I1 is 4. So it becomes 8 minus 4. So that gives you how much? So all this thing represents slope only. So that gives me how much? 10 by 4, and 10 by 4 is how much? 2.5. So this 2.5 is what? Delta V by delta I. Till here I think it is clear to you that what I have done till here. Just see the video once more if you are not able to understand this Y2, this concept of what values I have taken. Okay. Now, if you see the Ohm's law, delta V by delta I means what? Voltage by current. Achha, voltage by current represents what? According to Ohm's law, if I see V is equal to IR, I know. So R becomes what? V by I. So this delta V by delta I, that change in voltage by change in current, that represents nothing but R only, resistance. So the resistance is equal to 2.5. And how I got the resistance? By calculating the slope of the graph. So if I am able to calculate the slope of the graph, I can, that only itself becomes the resistance. So the significance of VI graph is what? The significance of VI graph is to calculate the resistance of a conductor. I hope it is understandable to you. This just x2 and y2 and x1 and y1. Just see this video once more to make yourself understand. So we know for this graph that my slope, that is equal to my resistance, and that value becomes 2.5. Now if you see, this is a straight line. For an ohmic conductor, the graph is a straight line. And if it is a straight line, that means what? The slope remains same everywhere. The slope over here is equal to the slope over here, which is equal to the slope over here. So slope everywhere remains the same. So for a straight line, what I can say, slope remains same or constant. If the slope remains constant, that means what? My resistance also becomes constant. That means the resistance also remains same. So that is why for an ohmic conductor, the resistance does not change. The resistance does not change, and the resistance throughout the resistance remains same. That means what? We take any value of V and I. Suppose we take this value of V and this value of I. My resistance, whatever will come, that will be 2.5. Even if I take this voltage at voltage 15 and the current, corresponding current, if I take that corresponding current and voltage ratio, that will be also 2.5. Suppose if I take this voltage as 25 and the current as 10, okay, so this 25 by 10, that is also 2.5. So everywhere, for every value of V and I, my resistance remains the same. So resistance remains same for any particular value of V and I. So if I take any particular value of V and I, okay, V and I means V, corresponding value of V is the corresponding V and its corresponding I, not any I. So so V and its corresponding I, then the ratio remains the same. So I hope you understood the significance of VI graph. So now we have to understand what are non-ohmic conductor or resistors. Okay. So the conductors that does not obey Ohm's law are non-ohmic conductor, right? So the conductor that does not obey Ohm's law are non-ohmic conductor. So what are the examples of it? First, let me give you the examples. The examples can be LED, junction diode, transistor, and many more are there. Okay, even solar cells. So these are all the examples of non-ohmic conductor, and non-ohmic conductors are the one which does not obey the Ohm's law, means they do not follow this I is proportional to V. This Ohm's law they do not follow. Now if we draw the graph of a non-ohmic conductor, the graph will look something like this. Suppose on the x-axis we have the current, and on the y-axis we have the voltage. And for a non-ohmic conductor, the graph will be like this. So it will be a curved line. Okay. So the graph is a curve. Okay, the graph is a curve. So for an ohmic conductor we have a straight line, and for a non-ohmic conductor we have a curve. Now we have to understand this thing by small examples, that what is this non-ohmic conductor means. This we have to understand this graphical part basically. So what is this non-ohmic, why this non-ohmic conductors graph is like this? Okay. Now for a non-ohmic conductor, the graph is a curved line, as you can see. In a curved line, the slope does not remain same. The slope over here, if I take some points, the slope over here, say this point, the slope at this point will be having a different value. The slope at this point will be having some other value. The slope at this point will be having some other values. So at different points in the graph, the slopes are different. And if the slopes are different, that means what? The resistance also becomes different, because the slope represents resistance. So if the slopes are different at each point, the resistance, the value of resistance, that will be also different at each and every point. So for a non-ohmic conductor, the graph is what? The graph is a curve. The graph is a curve. Okay. Each point on the curve has different slope. Each point on the curve have different slope. You can see. So this point will be having a different slope. And if they have different slope, that means what? They will have different resistance. Each point in a graph has different slope. So they will have different values of resistance at every point. At every point. So important things to note over here is that the graph has different slopes at each point. Over here they have a different slope, this point is a different slope, this point is a different slope, this point is a different slope. So if they have different slope, they will be having different values of resistance, because the slope represents resistance. So this you have to understand, or you have to know, slope is equal to resistance. Okay, so we have to understand this by one small example. Now let's understand this non-ohmic conductor graph by this small example. I have initially drawn a graph. See, I have taken a graph. This is my current, which is represented by the x-axis, and this is the voltage, which is represented by the y-axis. And I have taken some values 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. And I have drawn a curve. This curve represents what? Non-ohmic conductor graph. Now, if we happen to plot the values from the graph, what we can get? See, this thing we have to understand. If the current is 2, if you see the current is 2, then the corresponding value of voltage, how much I get? Say this current 2 comes over here, right? This, and this is comes over here. So this value is equal to, say, it is less than 5, right? So I have taken this value as 1. So corresponding value of when the current is 2 ampere, the voltage over here touches over here. So this becomes 1 ampere. 1 volt. Now over here, when the current is 4 ampere, the current is 4 ampere, then this graph touches over here. And this I have taken as 3. The voltage over here is 3. See, you can see less than 5. So I have taken this as 3. When the current is 6 ampere, taken this 6, then the corresponding value, how much I get? If I happen to draw this line, this becomes something like this. Now you can see when the current is 6 ampere, the voltage is 5 volt, right? Now when the current is 8 ampere, now how much I get is over here something like this over here I get. The voltage is less than 10, which is equal to, I have taken 8 volt. Now when the current is 10 ampere, if I go up, it comes somewhere over here. That I have taken as 13 volt. You can see less than 15. And when I go over here, when the current is 12 ampere, the corresponding value of voltage comes over here, 25 ampere. 25 volt. So these are the values that I get for. So for the corresponding values of current, 2 ampere, 4 ampere, 6 ampere, 8 ampere, 10 ampere, 12 ampere, these are the corresponding value of voltages that I get. Now if I do the V by I to get the resistance, I have to do V by I. So let's do it. V by I over here. So V by I means 1 by 2. 1 by 2 is how much? 0.5. Over here, V by I, if I do 3 by 4. So this becomes 3 by 4. That becomes how much? 0.75. Over here, V by I, if I do 5 by 6. That becomes how much? 0.83, something like that. Over here, if I do V by I, 8 by 8. 8 by 8, that gives you 1. Over here, if I do V by I, 13 by 10. That gives you the value 1.3. And if I do V by I, 25 by 12, that gives you the value of near about 2.04. Now you can see the resistance is different. Every point has different resistance. So that's what I tried to say in the previous place. When for a non-ohmic conductor, the resistance will be different at every particular point, over here or over here or over here, here, the resistance will change. So that is why for a non-ohmic conductor, the resistance doesn't remain same, the resistance varies. So for a non-ohmic conductor, we can say the resistance changes for any particular values. For any particular values, if I go taken, the resistance happens to change. So this is a non-ohmic conductor graph. I hope you understood the difference between ohmic and non-ohmic conductor graph. So now a question comes that how to get the slope. See, it is very easy to get the slope for a ohmic conductor because it is a straight line. Since it is a straight line, it is very easy to get the slope. Just you do V2 minus V1 by I2 minus I1. Change in voltage by change in current. So slope is equal to how much? Delta V by delta I. Just calculate the slope of this line. You can easily get the resistance. This delta P by delta I, that is equal to resistance. But this similar thing I cannot do directly for a non-ohmic conductor. Say if I happen to somebody asks me the slope of this graph, I cannot give a straight cut answer because the slope of this graph has many values of slope. This point has a different value. This point will be having a different value. This point will be having a different value. This point will be having a different. So every point on the graph has different values of slope. So somebody asks me what is the slope of this graph, I cannot give. So as I cannot give any particular answer that I do not, so is it possible to find the resistance? Think, because slope is equal to resistance. If I cannot get the slope of this graph, can I get the resistance? Technically, you cannot get the slope of this graph, entire graph, but you can get the slope of a particular point. So you consider any particular point on the graph and then you can take the slope. So suppose I have a graph like this and somebody asked me that at this particular point, what is the slope? Then what I have to do is that I have to draw a tangent at this point. So if I happen to draw a tangent, okay, I will draw a tangent at this point and the slope of this is the tangent, and the slope of this tangent will give me the value of resistance. Okay, so for a non-ohmic conductor, what you do, we have to draw a tangent. We have to draw a tangent at the particular point. So if we draw a tangent at this particular point where I need to find the value of resistance, I can get the resistance. So we need to draw a tangent at the particular point and find the slope of the tangent. So we need to find the slope of the tangent. Once we find the slope of this tangent, then we can simply find the resistance, because slope is equal to resistance. So once we find the slope of the tangent, then we get the value of r. So just we need to get the value of the tangent at this particular point, then we can easily get the value of r, that is the resistance. So this is about ohmic and non-ohmic conductor. So ultimately we came to know that for a VI graph, slope is equal to resistance. Whatever is the slope, that will give me the value of resistance. So more the slope, more becomes the resistance. By taking this concept in our mind, we have to solve one graphical question. Suppose I have a VI graph and I have two slopes. One slope like this for conductor A, another slope like this, another slope like this for conductor B. Now there are two graphs I have drawn. For this graph is for conductor A, this graph is for conductor B. Now somebody asked me to calculate which conductor has more resistance. Which conductor has more resistance? From this graph, I can easily see that the slope of A is more than slope of B. You can see the slope A is more inclined. Slope B is less inclined. So slope of A is greater than slope of B. That means what? That resistance of A is greater than resistance of B. So resistance of A becomes greater than resistance of B. So this is the whole concept of VI graph. In the next lecture, we will talk about conductance. Okay. So this lecture is a little bit, complicated, at the same time simple. You just need to observe how the graphs are drawn. Then you will get the idea, this whole slope concept. Okay. So saying that, I'll say bye and we'll see in the next video.